Well, hello, everybody. I hope everybody is doing fantastic today. I'm really excited about a couple of things. One thing I'm not excited about is y'all see it's just me here today. So I hope we have some people that can talk with me and lend me your information and your opinion. What I want to really talk about is some of the things that we heard and saw at NCSG last week. And if you were there, you knew how bad the internet was. If you weren't there, I'll just tell you it was so bad. We had SOS half the time. So if y'all don't know what that is Apple's kind of, hey, if you got an emergency, we'll let you through. But if you don't, you're not going to get anything. So we were just not able to come to you live. So as much as that we didn't like that, that was just the situation we were in, and I just want to thank Alyssa, who really stepped up and helped us get the message out and let us know that we weren't going to be there. So thank you, Terry. Thanks for the thumbs up. Always appreciate that. If the rest of y'all could do that, that'd be great. Kind of lets me know who's here. So I'm just going to jump in. So let me just say this. There are some things that always happen, and I want to address something that kind of came up there that I really got a little frustrated with, and that was everybody piling on the people at NCSG about the hotel. Mark, Jessica, thank you for being here. Really appreciate that as well. The people that do these trade shows, and I did some entertainment stuff. I worked for a company called Tomcats, and we did a lot of entertainment things. And I will just tell you, when you do these types of shows, a lot of times you're looking at the facilities sometimes 3, 4, and 5 years ahead of time and getting on their schedules. And in between all that, we had this thing called the pandemic, and hotels lost a lot of money during that time. So this hotel wasn't great, but it was adequate. And a guy like me, I don't, us old dudes used to stay at Hotel Sixes and motels when we traveled when we were young with our parents. And it was kind of like that. And that was, just kind of part of the deal. Linda, thank you very much for the thumbs up. And though it wasn't a fantastic hotel, I think the content and the people that were there, and if you weren't there, I think you missed one of the best speaker sets that I've seen in a long time. Both the keynote speaker in the beginning and Doug Hetch in the end. I've seen Doug's, he did this when we were at Lindemann this year. It was absolutely fantastic. So, I just want to put that out there so that people understand, be a little gracious when you're there, because the people that do and put these things on work really, really hard. And I do know that I was told that they're taking this hotel off the list of possibilities in the future. So we won't be going back there. But when we're there, let's be gracious about things. Now, that's the only negative thing I have to say about anything that happened this last week, because I loved what we talked about. I loved some of the things that were shared there. I thought it was one of the best NCSG, like I said, speakers there. So let's start with Tom Edwards, who blew this thing open. One of the things that I've said, and Carter has said this, is if you're not looking toward the future, you are going to get left behind, especially when it comes to marketing. Because what's going on with artificial intelligence in this space is pretty much miraculous. And I think it's going to change marketing forever. Now, there are some things that I've heard people say, well, there's all these lawsuits and there's this and there's that. Yep, there is. Happened when the internet started. It's happening. There's lawsuits against Google, and there's lawsuits against Facebook, and there's lawsuits against Apple, and there's lawsuits against Amazon. There's lawsuits against everybody right now. If you're in the space, the issue here is I don't think it matters, because they're just things that are changing. This is kind of a sea change, if you will. I look at it, and I've read some things that it's much like the Industrial Revolution, that it's going to be a tipping point down the road, and the tipping point is going to be faster, I think, than anything else we've seen. I'm so glad Jonathan is going to join us. Hey, Jonathan,
Hey, how are you?
I'm great. I'm so glad I don't have to talk all myself. I can have somebody to talk to about.
I'm gonna look to my right and grab this tab over, and you'll have to excuse the back. I've got a bunch of wedding stuff in the background.
Anybody doesn't know, Jonathan's getting married. Yeah, getting married. Going to be a married guy here pretty soon. But we're just talking about Tom Edwards and kind of him talking about AI, and the way he described it, I thought was wonderful. He did go through and talk about all the different things that we've talked about with Sora that's coming on with video, which is going to impact your world. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one of the things that I liked most about what he did was he didn't oversell it and didn't undersell it. He kind of said basically a lot of the same things that we talked about. I mean, certainly learned some things from him. But the best part was he didn't say the sky's not falling.
Yeah.
Basically, the gist is your jobs are going to be fine as long as you learn to use the efficiencies that AI gives you.
Yeah. And we've said that before. And actually, the AI Marketing Institute is where we heard it first. And he's the guy that we were listening on the way back to a podcast with AI Marketing Institute. And if you guys want a really good podcast, really kind of catch up on marketing and AI, that's a good one to go to. But he was talking about that everybody's using what he said, so he's not going to say it anymore. So basically, we don't think marketing companies are going to be put out of business, but we do think marketing companies that aren't gravitating and using AI and understanding how to manage AI probably will be. So, and that's why we've talked here a lot about AI. We've got what we're calling a sales assistant bot, but I think it's more. I really think it's more than just that. I think it is a critical piece of your business that if people don't grab a hold of these types of technologies, you're going to go away. Here's the other thing, though. There's a reality behind the AI world. There's still things in search that Google's trying to figure out. I mean, we've got bad actors. We've got people spinning up websites with AI. We got people doing things in maps with AI that I'm hoping this last update that they did, that we're going to see that take care of a lot of it, but we'll see. I mean, it's a wait and see thing. So AI always has good and there's bad. It doesn't matter. There's so many people I've heard say, well, there's so much bad stuff coming in, I just don't want to do it. And I would just say that's kind of throwing the baby out with the bathwater.
Well, and you're missing out on so much that it has to offer by doing something like that. And, I read an article today about, and I posted it in one of our Slack channels, but about some things that AI still doesn't quite do. In other words, there's some things it's perfect for, and then there's some things that even a simple Google search is perfect for. And I think that what we're going to find is that it finds its lane. It's not. I don't even think search is necessarily going away. Really, what's probably more likely, and you can tell me if you agree with this, is that there's going to be an integration of the two.
Oh yeah, and I think search, which has been mainly keyword driven, when they integrate AI with it, I believe that it's going to be even more systemic than it is right now.
Yeah.
So let me explain that a minute, because I think that's important. Used to, everything was keyword. So if I had chimney cleaning and chimney sweeping, or HVAC and air conditioning, you had to make sure that you used every single one of those keywords where you needed to have it.
Right.
You know, and it's still important to have those scattered in there, but they had this keyword density that you would have to have. And I mean, it was kind of you would count the keywords and go through and do all this stuff and make sure you had the density right and this right and that right. And then Google started this systemic search, which is actually connecting where things that are similar or things that are alike that use different terminologies, a hose pipe and a spigot. That's a good example. If you have a hose pipe and a spigot, in the old days, you'd have to say hose pipe and spigot. Now, if you use a hose pipe through systemic, they know it's also a spigot.
Right.
So yeah, and so you don't have to stuff those keywords in there and do that. So it's more about giving people the answers to the questions that they have.
Well, and I think that's key, because if
Yeah.
any of us that have ever tried to teach themselves how to, like, for instance, sew a button back on a pair of pants because you don't want to pay a seamstress. Have you ever gone through an article and it takes you 5 paragraphs to get to the instructions because they've keyword stuffed that article so much?
Oh, I hate the news articles when they say, I read one today that was just like, I can't even remember what it was. It had nothing to do about politics, but it was like, oh, I want to know that. And I had to dig all the way in and all the way down, and I finally found it.
Yeah.
I hate those things.
Yeah.
But the ones that say, hey, here's 5 steps to, cleaning a closet. And then you got one little paragraph, and step 1, this is what you do. Step 2, this is what I love those. Give me
Yes.
step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because it's given me the information that I want. So the other thing that's really important is something that's Google it's EEAT, which is experience, expertise, being authority in the space, and trustworthiness. So these are the things that you really want to have. So let me just tell you why I think AI is brilliant for this. Because if you can find a way that gives you the ability to show your experience, your expertise, your authority, and your trustworthiness in all the different areas around you. In other words, if you see on a map that you've got all these different pins that you've covered on a map, that's what the AI bot that we have does.
Mm-hmm.
It gets you covered on all these places. And that's the thing that's brilliant about it. So everybody talks about, well, it's just another chatbot. No, it's not.
Oh, it's way more than a chatbot.
Yeah. And, and so AI is being able to bring some of these things together. And that doesn't mean that some of the other AI chatbots are, do other things or whatever. I'm just a search guy. And so when I see the ability to do that in a very easy and informative way, because nobody, when you're able to do that and show case studies of you doing work in one area or not, it just blows it up. So these are some of the things that AI is bringing that if you don't take advantage of it, you could very easily be left alone, because eventually everybody's going to be taking advantage of it because it's going to be like a website.
Right.
And that's kind of what Tom was saying.
Yeah.
Start looking at these things. So here's what's really, really cool. And Carter and I have set on this for over a year because we knew what NCSG's been doing. We were just under an NDA because Bob Ferrari had reached out to us and asked us if we could put him in touch with somebody that we knew. And Carter and I actually have a really good friend that's in this space. So we put Bob in touch with them, and he actually put them in touch with a company that has developed their virtual training. So is there anybody out there right now that was there, that was able to put the headset on with the NCSG virtual training? Is if anybody's there in the comments, if you just raise your hand, I would like to know if anybody is on there and can speak to that a little bit. So let me just tell you what it does. You put the headset on, and you're actually in a virtual environment and able to reach out and build and train on these things. One of the guys that, sorry, one of the guys that was at, I'm going to turn my phone off. I got to turn it off, maybe. Hold on just a second. Oh, that's the wrong one. I do that all the time. There you go. One of our clients that was there, I asked him, I said, what did you think? And he said, man, he goes, when I was on the roof, I felt myself plant my foot, like I didn't want to fall. And I'm like, yeah, it's pretty wild, isn't it?
Yeah.
And he's like, oh my gosh. So did you have a chance to go do that?
I didn't, and I wanted to. I just didn't get the chance to. But everybody that I saw coming by the booth talking about it were like, "Whoa!"
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I know a guy that out of Portland that bought two before he even got in the headsets. They just talked about it, and he goes,
Yeah.
"I'm gonna have it." So
Well,
I
you
think,
just can't beat that knowledge. You can upload the knowledge you have and preserve that. And they talked about the onboarding and all that.
yeah, and as you add more and more modules to that, I mean, just think about being able to train your staff right there, just with a headset and whatever, and put them in those environments. And then I know CSIA on the other side is creating a big hands-on facility. So I'm in my brain, of course, this is my brain, so I'm not going to get in the political stuff between these organizations, but in my brain, to have somebody actually train for NCSG and to be able to do all that stuff and then go and do it on the real thing, to me is a 1-2 punch. I mean, I can't imagine getting any better training than that. I mean,
Well, I think the industry is really set up to make the professionalism is already there, but just the leveling up even of the training, if that was possible, is impressive.
Yeah. Yeah. It was just absolutely brilliant. And then there was another company there, Chimney Monkeys, that were taking advantage of a lot of the AI. And it wasn't just them. There was a couple of people that came up and they talked to us about all the things they're doing in their business to take advantage. And Carter and I were able to, in our class, we're able to take some people through some real workshops. And Carter built a month of social media posts and showed them how you can build it out. And we did it in 45 minutes. We did a month of social posts in 45 minutes. Now that's just the text part. And you would have to go through and you could pull your pictures, pull different things out. There's all kinds of stuff, and upload it into a social program to be able to post that. Just automatically have all those things done, a post every single day during the week. But you have to have, it would take more than 45 minutes to finish it. But, I'm looking at probably 3 hours, and you get really good at it. Don't you think, Jonathan? 3 hours time. Are you there?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I just can't see your mouth move.
Okay. For some reason, my internet's gone a little bit slow, but I think what I loved about it was as you learn the prompts and as you learn to go through the process and take it through its paces, you will learn how to train it. ChatGPT being one, but really any of them, you'll learn how to train it to sound like you, and you'll have to do less and less editing. Not no editing, but less and less.
Yeah, no, I think that's very true. So we did that. We also built an email campaign, and Carter showed how they could go into Midjourney, which is a image. We built something based on Ryan Reynolds' character in Deadpool. Now you can't use that.
Right. That is copyrighted.
Right, that is copyrighted, but we're able to do that and he put it together right there, and that took about probably another 45 minutes to do, and went over a lot of different things with that. So we were able to do a really nice workshop, which was great because Tom Edwards had already talked about all the advantages of AI,
Right.
the good, the bad, and the ugly, I guess, is what I would say. Most of
Yeah,
it was really good.
oh, it was great. And I think what people got to see and the beauty of what you guys did that day was there's a lot of, a lot of us can hear a lecture and take in information, but it doesn't necessarily, this was a very hands-on applicable lesson where they could actually see step by step. And that's really honestly where I think people want to learn more, is the step by step, how to give the prompts, things that are possible, things like that.
And there's so much information right now, guys. I mean, you can just say, go into YouTube and type in, I need to learn AI prompts.
Right.
Just type that into YouTube, and there's YouTubes there. There's people that have really cheap courses. I've seen one for $9 that I went into that I think is really good. And it tells you how to prompt. It tells you how to, a couple of things that I would tell you is, make sure that you're being kind to this thing. It was trained on human knowledge, so it likes kindness, and I found that out from my wife. I mean, seriously, it was crazy. Is to say please and thank you, and she just says you get so much better information. It just wants to help you. I mean,
Right.
they programmed it to be an assistant. So tell me some of the things that you use it for, Jonathan.
ChatGPT.
Mm-hmm. Or any of them. I mean, I'm using Claude 3 right now more than
Right.
Yeah.
I use ChatGPT whenever I'm writing YouTube descriptions. And so a lot of times I'll write out a sketch and then I'll say, make this into a short paragraph. And then I'll refine it from there. Make this sound less formal. Things like that, just refining it until it says it in a way that I like. And then I'll go in and end up editing some more. I know I have not used Midjourney as much, although it was interesting to watch what it could do. I've used Canva. They have an AI image creator as well. And Canva was a game changer. I mean, I use Photoshop and things like that, professional tools. And I find I use Canva at least half the time, because it's just so easy and puts out really good stuff. But they have an AI component. I remember once I needed an image of a fireplace internally for a video, and I needed it to look realistic and not cartoony and things like that. And it created it. I took it through a couple of iterations, got it to where I wanted, and it made it. And that's where that's been huge. Another one it's called Opus Clip, and that one learns to, when I shoot my video in widescreen, it learns to find the center of the subject, meaning if it's an interview, the person I'm interviewing centers that up, moves it almost as if the camera's moving, like when they sway and things like that. And then it adds the captions in, and the captions are incredibly accurate, even with somebody with an accent. So
it's awesome.
Yeah, I've found it's immense help with it.
Well, I know Alyssa too is using it to actually throw this podcast in and get reels. Usually what is she using? Do you know?
Oh, I've been sending those to her.
So you're doing it.
Yeah. But now she may actually have gone in and used it. I gave her my login credentials, but I've sent her a bunch of reels, and it's actually, this is that one Opus Clip where it's actually finding the gist of it's measuring, it's finding clips, and then it's measuring them against other clips and trends that are currently active and going on, and people that are getting engagement. And I've gotten some really good clips of you and Carter going back and forth. It's even lining up like when we're across like we are now, like two talking heads. Mm-hmm. It's lining them up one on top of each other.
Oh, wow.
And sometimes I have to futz with it a little bit and make it right, but I mean, I'm very impressed with how little I know.
So if you guys have video out there on your website and you don't know, how to repurpose it, look at Opus Clip. It may be something that you can put in there and it'll make reels for you. And you've
One
got reels
and
for social.
and the beauty of it is they give you 2 hours for free, meaning you get 2 hours of clip time. And that may seem like a lot. It's pretty easy how quickly it can get used up, but it lets you get a taste of what it can do so you know whether it's an investment you want to make.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's fantastic. So these are the kinds of things that you can use. And so let me kind of tell you, there's a lot of choices out there. You have Copilot. You can use that for free in Bing. You have Gemini. You can use that for free in Google. You can go to, I think it's gemini.google.com. You can get to Gemini. There's Claude, Claude. They have, if you want to pay, you get the big version, which is Claude 3, Opus 3, which just came out as being better now than ChatGPT as far as all the language learning model. I mean, so there's a lot of things out there. I mean, you've got Perplexity, which is a search engine that it's an AI-driven search engine.
Yep.
You've got DALI, I think it's DALIE. That is for images.
Yeah.
Is that right? DAL.
I forget exactly. I thought it was DAL-E, but I could be wrong on that.
DAL-E.
Yeah.
Midjourney, just like it sounds, MIDJOURNEY. You'll have to have an account in Discord. It's real easy to do, but it takes a minute to learn how to do it. But once you do, it's very, very simple. Gemini is coming back when they do their re-release. They are coming back with images. So just kind of hang on with that. Their images to me were really, really good and very, very easy to create. They just had a mishap of something. I'm not exactly sure what happened. They were doing it one day and not the next. So, somebody said something went on. I think I remember what it was. That somebody was looking for like George Washington and getting some historical photos, and they weren't accurate. They were more diversity, in which they were wanting accurate things, and it was giving them some very diverse pictures. I think that was it. So they're trying to get their accuracy there, because you want a little bit of both. I mean, that's the thing. It's not human, so it doesn't really know, and so they've got to retrain some things. So excuse me, so that happens.
Taylor, a really good place if anybody wants some resources of the new stuff. Now, a lot of this is going to be tech heavy and it may not fit, but there's a guy named Matt Wolfe, WOLFE, on YouTube, who every new thing that comes out, he's talking about. And so if you want to see what's out there and what's available, that's a really good resource for that.
Yeah. I want to thank, I guess, Marilyn Rachel Rana. I don't know who that is, but I'm glad you're here. Karen Hatcher, glad you're here too. We've seen you several times. Love that you're on. But yeah, there's so many things online that you can do. There's just a lot to it. Both Microsoft has Copilot in their 360 suite. Google Workspace has AI in their suite. I mean, don't feel like you can't have there's just so much out there to use. Jamie, nice to see you too, man. Great to see you here. Is anybody that's on there, y'all using something that we haven't mentioned that you think would help the group here that's here today? Because if you do, please let us know. I mean, things are happening every single day, guys. I'm just telling you, every single day.
Oh, I mean, look at what Apple's about to do, including I don't remember if it's Google, but they're going to be including some AI into their iPhones in the next iOS.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it's coming all the time.
Yeah. I mean, it's just bing, 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 bing. So make sure that you are experimenting. Make sure that you are playing with these things. There's so many free things that you can just ask it. You can help it write a birthday song. You can help it, create a birthday card, anniversary card. You can, help it create a
Vows.
speech. You can do what?
I said vows.
Vows. There you go. Don't tell Brooks. I need some real good marriage vows.
I think I may actually get a pro to do that, but it crossed my mind.
Like her, so please give me something interesting.
Right.
That's funny. But really, it really is about experimentation. This is a great program. What's the learning curve like? Okay, that's a great question, Terry.
Yeah.
All right, it depends on what you want to do. So I will tell you that it took my wife probably about 3 days to really get good at it, but she bought a course, but it was an inexpensive course. They kind of walked her through how to really communicate with AI. And she actually was doing a project for us. She has created a downloadable PDF that we're going to release probably this summer, going into the busy season for all of our clients, that they can tailor this PDF to that. Our exclusive clients will get it, and we're going to offer it for a cost. It's about 75 pages. So she went through that course in order to do that, and it included both creating some photos as well as text. So, but it's for home services of all kinds. So that's kind of what we did. I will tell you the LLMs, which is ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, all of them that are language learning models. Those are very easy for me to learn. It really, if you treat it just like an assistant. So if I have Jonathan here and I want him to do something for me, if I say, Jonathan, I need you to go shoot video next week, and I need headshots, I need service video, I also want video where there's interviews. I need all those videos done next week, and I'm sending you out. What would you tell Jonathan in that needed to be included in that? So if I just gave him that, then he doesn't have really any great information. He's going to get headshots. He's going to get, run and gun footage, and he's going to get interview footage. But I didn't include interviews about what? Is there a color palette? Do they want their headshots in front of a truck, or do they want them, with green screen, or do they want them, how do they want their headshots? Is there a rain date for something? How many things do they want? If it's run and gun, is there drone footage? Should I do? All these things are missing from that description. So it's using them as an assistant and giving them all the information that they need on the front end.
A lot of context. Yeah.
On the front end. So the more you can give, it would be if there was somebody sitting right beside you and you needed to fill in all these blanks. So let's talk about it this way. Let's say it's an email campaign about dryer vents. Let's just say you want to go out this spring, and because I know a lot of home service businesses do dryer vents. There's standalone dryer vent companies, chimney companies do them, HVAC companies do them, air vent companies do them. So here we go. So you're going to do something about dryer vents. Okay. Is all you do is clean dryer vents, or do you clean dryer vents and you replace I wanted to say the spigot. See, I went back to the spigot, Jonathan. Hoses. Yeah. Which now they're not even hoses. I mean, most of them are metal piping. You want to replace that. I mean, what is it that you want? How many emails do you want? So you can put that information in. Here are the services that we do for dryer vents. I would like to have a 5 email campaign outlining the things that we do for dryer vents for our clients. I would like for it not to be more than 2 paragraphs because I don't want them to have to read a whole long stuff, and I want them to cover all these things with a call to action and that put that in one of these systems, Terry, and see what that thing puts out. You can even tell it to go to the certification on CSIA or the dryer vent certification and make sure that it absolutely stays with that and follows the criteria that you lay out for it. So that's how you want to do that, and treat it like an assistant and give it all that information.
Jamie has an interesting comment.
AI can create a cartoon about a dryer vent or chimney fire. They can create scripts. Yep, absolutely. That can be used to discuss different topics within the industry or a company commercial. So that's perfect. It can do a cartoon. It can do a realistic dryer vent. I mean, in Midjourney, you can give it all the parameters. I will say if you're going to use some of the things for photos, one of the things I would tell you it'd be really good to go read some articles about contrast, some of those things that photographers know, because that kind of information you can input into Midjourney and it actually takes those things and creates it that way.
Yeah.
So, hey, great stuff, Jamie. And you're right. And it's fun to play with. Here's what I'll tell you, Terry. When you get started in it and you start doing it, you're going to go, oh, this is great. And you're going to start playing with it. And my only comment will be, you may have so much fun, you forget to do your work. I will tell you, I'm really glad I do what I do because, I've been able to take a couple of hours a week and just kind of go down the rabbit hole and have some fun. So
well, and going down those rabbit holes helps you think of new ideas of what you can do with it.
Yes. But the thing I loved about NCSG this year is they are looking at using it. They're bringing speakers in to acclimate people around it. I mean, they're doing a really good job of staying on the forefront, because if you're not on the forefront these days, you're going to be on the back burner. And if you're on the back burner too long, you're going to get burned. You're going to not be around.
That's right. You're left behind.
Yeah. So, and I really believe that. Even if you're a marketing company, you're going to get left behind. So it's not just the home service. Really, home service businesses are in some of the best places ever. Because until they get robots that can, you can run up the chimney that has spray that sprays all the cracks and seals everything for you, your job's pretty secure. And even then, y'all will be the ones that'll be running those things. So you just may not have to have as many technicians. That, I don't know that for sure, but I mean, we talked about that with some people while we're there. When is it gonna, take the place of having somebody on the roof? And I would say it's great because now your liability goes down. If you've got a robot on the roof that's checking all the stuff and doing all the things up there, you don't have compliance issues with that, So I don't think that's that bad. So companies always talk about engaging with clients using a newsletter. AI can do that work for you. Yeah, it saves a ton of time. Absolutely, 100%. So here's what I tell people. This is right in line with what Jamie's talking about. Anything that is not on your website right now is good. You can do with AI. Newsletters, articles, that I've had AI help me with my NCSG articles, my plumbing magazine articles. I've gone in there and got some information. Now, it doesn't write the whole thing for me because I like adding my stuff.
Right. You want it to sound like you.
I want to sound like me. And sometimes it doesn't always sound like me. But if you want it to sound more like you can do what I've done. Upload stuff that you've done. Upload video, upload articles that you've written, blog posts that you've written, whatever that sounds like you, upload it and it gets really close to you. So that's a good kind of a shortcut there. Social media. What else, Jonathan?
A lot of image examples. Are you talking about, like, if you need images of specific things that goes in your newsletter and things like that?
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, you can put those in if you don't have them. Advertising, if you want to do a cartoon type thing for an advertising piece or ad for Facebook, Google ad, Instagram, all those. I mean, all that stuff can be done by AI.
Yes.
Because Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, none of them have come out and said, we don't want AI here. None of them. The only one that I know of is Google says this. You have to have EEAT. That's why I say that. Because here's the other thing about Google. There's a ton of people out there that think they've got all these things that they've written indexed. And I will tell you, they're not. In fact, Google is turning away more and more and more content than I've ever seen them do before. And the reason that they're doing it is just writing more about the same stuff is not helping.
No, it's not providing value.
Yeah, it just doesn't. So, yeah. So that's it. So we've gone way over now. We're like 10 minutes over. So what are your parting thoughts, Jonathan?
I think for me, and I had to grapple with this when this stuff hit as well, because I've spent my entire career from college all the way to now learning things a certain way, is to just not be afraid of it. There's no way we're not going to avoid it. I don't think it's going to take my job, especially if I embrace it. In fact, specifically if I embrace it. And I think that applies to everyone. And there's just efficiencies that will not only make your life easier, it's kind of delightful actually to not have to do some things. So that's my parting thought. Not be afraid.
Yeah. And let me tell you, there are so many things that I do that I so hate to do it. I mean, I had something today that would have taken me forever. I'm going through all of our software and trying to figure out, are we duplicated? I mean, it's the beginning of a year. I'm just trying to get organized and get some stuff done. I probably have 55 different software programs that we've either used and paid for, or they're free or whatever. And I'm just trying to sort through them because it's just in too many different directions right now. And that's what happens when you grow and everybody's got a credit card and you say, try stuff. Okay. Yeah. So I just said, I need these sorted and put them in categories for me, sort through them, figure out where they are, if they're like software groups. And it did it. It said, sure. And I listed this whole list of almost 60, and it just went through and lickety split and sorted them all.
That's incredible. Made your life a ton easier, right?
A ton easier. So now I know these things do like stuff. This stuff does like stuff. So where do we need to say, we need to make some decisions. Let's go with this. Let's go with that. And it was fantastic. It was absolutely fantastic. I wish I could have put my QuickBooks in there and said, now, put all the amounts that we pay for them beside it. Now I'm having to go back and do that. So,
right.
Let's come on and figure that out yet.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, for those things that you hate to do, see if AI can do them for you.
Oh, especially all the rote things that you get tired of doing all the time. The copy paste. I mean, AI can do a lot of that.
Yeah. I mean, it's just brilliant what it can do. We're looking at some of the things on spreadsheets. I mean, we're playing with it on some of these things. I have one of the guys that came by the booth said, I've learned I don't have to know all of the formulas now for spreadsheets. I just go in and say, I want it to do this. And it gives me the formula and I put it in the spreadsheet.
I mean, game changer.
Game changer. Absolutely. Absolutely. Hey, thanks, Chuck. I appreciate you being here as well. Well, with that, I'm gonna call it a day. I hope you guys come back. Carter and I are determined to kind of move this podcast kind of into the world of AI and marketing and helping people use it and get more acclimated with it, because we think it is the future. And guys, it's not just the future; it really is right now.
I don't say it, definitely the now.
Yeah, yeah, it's right now. So jump in. And as always, if you have anything that we can help you with, Carter at sparkmarketer.com, Taylor at sparkmarketer.com, Bug Jonathan at sparkmarketer.com. We'll try to help you out as much as we can. Thanks, everybody. Really appreciate you.
Thanks, everybody.